Hey, hey! It's the Stomp Strong Show, episode 5. I am Stomp. This is Saad. I hope everyone's doing well this week. We had that's almost Moose getting up on the couch. We had a great week ourselves this week, but there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, and I've had a lot of friends calling me about knives, and a lot of customers calling about knives, and I think I had 2 orders this week for something small that I could keep on me at work, and what would that be? And I want to know what you would do, and X, Y, and I asked you, what do you want to talk about? Do you think this is a good subject?
Sure.
And Saad's like, yeah, let's do it. So you can't really see very well because I have it. Maybe we'll back up a little bit here and pull the table toward us a little. Let's see if you can see that. There you go. That's a little better. So you can see a little more. Maybe. Yeah, there he goes. All right, so now you can see what's on the table a little better. We have a little different angle than last week, getting used to it. And this is just an accoutrement of stuff that I own, and Saad's brought his piece that he came in daily, and this is stuff that I use on a regular basis to sort of mitigate safety. And there's all kinds of levels, you know what I mean? So my buddy Chris, a lifetime friend, Chris, I love you. This video essentially is for you. Called me and he wanted to know a lot about buying a knife for the first time. And I as a knife seller, man, I'm around knives constantly, and I'm talking to knives constantly, and I'm always looking for what I think is the best situation with a knife, and I got into the custom world, and sometimes customs aren't the best situation that you want with a knife, and I can give you some reasons. If you have a custom knife on you, say like this from Denny Fury, and you pay a couple $100 for something, and you waited for a while for it, and you got it confiscated because you've used it in a situation you didn't want it to get lost at. You can buy the same type of knife for very little money, for almost nothing, made of plastic, and all different kinds of scenarios that you could lose or throw away. You know, they call it a throwaway knife or something like that, or one you're willing to sacrifice to the police if you had a question about it or something like that. So.
Yeah. Like, I think that's a good point, like, because I hear people talk about, like, oh, you don't want to use something expensive because if you use it and the police confiscate it, it may be a long time before you get the weapon back, or you may never get it back, depending on the circumstances. And, let's say, like, I got a knife on me. I got this Chris Reeves knife. I've always wanted to have it. He's from South Africa. He immigrated to the States in I think '89, and he makes like some of the best custom knives in the world. And this knife it's a really nice knife. He calls it the Sabanza, which in Zulu just means work, and that's a good point when you're purchasing a knife, and you may end up talking about it, which is this is a work knife. This isn't a fighting knife. I mean, of course.
Yeah.
It can be used, it's like a baseball bat designed for baseball. It can be used for self-defense. But the important part of the knife is this being a work knife. And I think Chris Reeves stuff, this might sell for $500-600. I don't know. Because it goes up over in time, and you only make so much stuff.
In the production world, this is the standard.
Yeah.
Chris Reeves Sabanza is the standard in the production.
But the deal is like, if I have to use this to save my life, you know what? My life is worth more than $500 or $600 to me.
Sure.
Or even if it's like a high-end Gucci, you got a high-end Gucci AR-15 at home, or say a 1911 made by Wilson Combat that might be a $4,000 or $5,000 gun, and you use it to save your life, to save your family's life. The police take it. It's like, your life's worth more than $4 or $5 grand. That's a good trade. Like, okay.
There's a couple ways to think about it. You can get that for $600, or you can get this for $115 from Cold Steel. It's got the tri-lock. Mm-hmm. I would say it's way stronger than any frame lock made.
Right.
And that if you leave it in the car and someone if you lose it, there's a lot of people that can't hold on to something $600.
Sure.
So there's different ways to go about every angle, you know, from a real blade to plastic to fake combs and stuff. There's just so many options. But the point is, people want to be comfortable with something, and what you've been carrying forever is a nice full-size blade, 3.5 inch size blade that you find is easy to put in your pocket, nice and slim. I find the same thing about this. It's just a monster version. It's nice and slim.
Yeah.
So when I'm a suggestion for me, for anyone, if you're looking for a base model, very strong blade, lower end, I would go Cold Steel Recons.
Right.
This is a personal size. I got all kinds of sizes. I have. This is a smaller one. This is the one I keep in my car all the time.
Right.
This always stays in my car. The reason I can't put Jeremy's, this is my favorite custom fighter. This is a very, very nice knife.
Right.
And it's not that I don't want to go to battle with this. If I was going to battle, this is the one out of everything. But I can't take this out and throw it on my car and leave it there. Not now. You can't leave nothing in there that you're not willing to lose right now. People are breaking in the cars at a high rate. And maybe this isn't what I really want to walk around with because it's like a 12, 13, 14 inch blade. It's a little much. A lot of
and
people.
you gotta check your state laws. Like in Texas, you can walk around with the samurai
Yeah,
sword if you want.
exactly.
But you know, depending on the state you're in, you may not be able to walk around with a knife of that
In
length.
1830, it was
Right.
kind of the Wild West out there.
Sure.
And this was the standard
Right.
for carry back then. It's, you know, it's called sheath. It's called sash carry. So you have a problem. You know, you come out with your heat. It's, you know, most of the time it comes out, and you can do it. You can get to work. So a lot of people aren't going to do this, right? But nowadays, there's so much crazy shit going on. If you're walking around with maybe a little knife on you on your side, and you're just showing a little bit of like, hey man, I got this on me.
Yeah.
This is just something I roll around with. This style is what I was trying to show for my buddy Chris. If I was to sit around and have a knife that I was going to throw in like a backpack or a briefcase, and I was going to keep this near me or with me at all times for defense because I didn't necessarily know what was going on and I don't have a bunch of guns. And we're talking about people that recently got their first gun a month ago. They haven't even been able to shoot it one time because the ranges aren't open. They don't have access to the knowledge that we got, right? I'm starting to tell them, you know, maybe you keep like something like this in your car, in your bag, something like a 7-inch blade, something that if you want to get out of the car and you want to wear it, we can get a sheath made for it that you can tuck it in the side and throw your shirt over it if you want to, if you're nervous.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to wear it in this regular sheath hanging from your side and then your knife guy, maybe a little extreme, but it's a little bit of a weird time.
Right.
If you're walking around with this on your side, people kind of looking at you a little differently maybe. I don't know.
Unless you're in Texas.
It's sort of
cool.
normal here.
We're like, hey, you know, whatever you want to walk down the street with. But a point I wanted to make on the Chris Reeves Sabanza knife. There's two things. One, like I said, Sabanza in Zulu stands for work. So it's a work knife. So although this can be used for self-defense, the problem is, what people don't understand about knives is they think, oh, you stab somebody, you know, you get them. Like it pierces them, and you can kill your enemy. A lot of times you can tell who stabbed who because they're going to slice their hands open.
Sure.
Because if I took this knife and I slammed it real hard on this table, there's nothing stopping my hand coming down that blade, and I'll slice my hand wide open. The same thing if I tried to stab a person here or here, and maybe I hit their collarbone or I hit a rib bone, the knife may very well stop, and then my hand go down the blade. So that's why, say a knife like this, regardless of the blade length, it has this guard, which is going to keep your hand from sliding down. Or there's a perfect knife.
Yeah.
So this work knife, this
Fighter.
could be a fighting knife.
And if it was, and the way this style, just to put a little add on, the way this is abridged at the top, this would be considered like a hunter style, so you can come across the top a little bit. If he brought it up like this, if this was a full one all the way up, that would be considered a fighter. This is not necessarily, this is for sure a fighter.
Sure.
But the way they make the designs is all really crucial. But it's interesting because we're going straight to knives because me and you carry knives.
Right.
But really, like I'm looking at this situation in Dallas when they pulled the guys out of the cars on the highway and beat the piss out of them. And I'm like, okay, what happens now? And I don't have a concealed permit in Texas, and I don't have concealed guns necessarily. In fact, I sold one recently, but and the reason why is because I never carry it. There's no point, because when I have a small bag, which is what I carry all the time when I need one, this is what I have in my bag, and this is my go-to outside the house gun. My inside the house gun.
Which gun is this?
This is a Glock 34, and this is a Blade Tech holster.
And what caliber is that?
9mm.
9mm.
And I'm gonna make sure it's unloaded. And this is just totally tricked out. It has like the RMR sight on it. And I'm just going to start naming stuff so you get an idea of what we're talking about here. This is sort of like my John Wick build. So the gun itself is like $600. And this is all previous prices. And then like the Trigicon's like $500. And this projects a red dot so you can find it really fast. And you don't have any problem with both eyes open or weird angles. You can find it fast. Compared to having to acquire the suppressor high sights that I put on it from Dawson Precision Magwell, and a flashlight. The flashlight is necessary if you're going to have any type of weapon that you might have to encounter somebody with.
And that's perfect for home defense or defense in general. Like a lot of times you'll hear about shootings, even shootings that from law enforcement, where like they shoot 10 times and miss every single shot. And you're like, hold on, you was at the range. How did you miss all your shots? One, you got to practice. But two, when people are shooting at you, you have a tendency not to use your sights. Because you're like, oh, I just need to return lead because this dude's shooting at me.
Sure.
And so you just sort of point the gun and shoot rather than aim and line up your sights. The advantage of the red dot is you're more inclined to, it's like, oh, I can just put the red dot on the person instead of trying to align the sights where, the middle sight is aligned with the two back sights and it's all even and it's above the target, which is what you're doing at the range maybe. But if you have a red dot, that's really ideal for self-defense.
And I think this is the new trend. I think it's a trend now, but I think this will be the standard. I think we're starting to see guns come with the red dot included in the gun.
Sure.
And you can buy it as optioned out. And Saad's wheel gun is always an option. What's that? A 686 plus?
Yes, it's a Smith & Wesson 686 plus. And really, when we talk about it's a 357 Magnum gun. When you talk about what gun you want to use, and one of the reasons I like about the wheel guns is it's really easy to tell it's unloaded, because you just look at the chamber, it's like, hey, I just popped it out. There's no bullets in. But what I like is when I click, it chambers to the next round. So if I have a dud round, I don't have to clear it. I just pull the trigger again. It goes to the next round. And my father, who's a police officer, he carried the Smith & Wesson 357, and I believe it's the first handgun I ever shot in my life was a Smith & Wesson 357. And so, if my life is on the line in a home defense situation, this is the gun I believe in more than any other gun in the world. And some people are like, well, it's only got, most wheel guns only have 6 shots. This one actually has 7 bullets. But it's like, dude, if I need to shoot more than 7 bullets on home invasion, like who's invading my home? The Colombian cartel, the Italian mafia? Well, who's coming for me?
Well, you just said if you can't get your front sight, you might rip them all off.
Right, you might.
So I'm sticking with my new school. Like this is 17, and then I have 33 rounders over there. So you just for me, I put 3 17 rounders, 2 33s. I had 150 rounds. I'm figuring if someone's smashing on my car, right? So my response at first is okay, what do I do if there's 650 people smashing on my car? And I guess you pull the gun out when the window breaks. I guess I don't know, but
I think if your life is in danger, you'd make a decision there. But if we're talking about regardless of the caliber you choose or the gun you choose, it should be a gun that you can shoot well.
Sure.
I have shot thousands of rounds through this Smith & Wesson 357. Throughout my life, this maybe 10, 20,000 rounds have gone through these guns. So it's a gun I shoot well. I was at the range the other day, and this young couple, they were shooting a 44 Magnum. And very powerful round. Big round, very powerful. and they were shooting at I believe it was the 15-yard target, and you'd hear the big bang, and then I would either see the dirt come up well before the target, or it would hit the berm behind the target, but they didn't hit that metal target one single time from 15 yards. So it's like, oh, it's a powerful round, and if you hit them, it's going to do a lot of damage. But in that couple's case, if they hit somebody, it's on accident, because they can't shoot it. One, because it's a very powerful gun, so the recoil was affecting them. But two, the bullet of a high caliber, you get a handgun, shoot 50 caliber bullets, but those bullets are going to be maybe 2 to 3 times more expensive than, say, a 9mm bullet.
Sure.
And so I say you shoot the gun that you can practice with the most and that you shoot the best. So I would rather shoot a 9mm at somebody and hit them 2 or 3 times out of 5 shots than shoot a 50 cal at somebody and miss them all 5 times.
Yeah, I think there's a logic for both, right? Because you can have like all the best training ammo in the world, and you're not going to go shoot critical defense, 45 ammo. Okay, for instance, for me, I have a FN TAC 45 underneath the table here, all loaded up, ready to go, with a flashlight on it. That's the only gun I can get to right away in this house. There's one in my bedroom. The 34's in my bed, next to the bedroom, or in the bag, and this one. I don't have many handguns. I have just a couple. So I have the 45 underneath the desk and the 9mm. I shoot 99% of the time, my whole life, 9mm.
Right.
So, but when I take that 45 out, I don't have to shoot it much to hammer on it, because the 45 is a nice, easy round to shoot. Almost easier than a 9mm. It hits harder, but it's almost an easier shot. It's a less fast round, so it doesn't move as quickly. It's not as much action in the round. Sort of a thumper shot, I like to say, if that makes sense. So there's different ways to look at it. But what I'm not doing is not shooting, right? And what I'm not doing is thinking I'm good. Right. I'm never thinking I'm good. I'm always in the aspect of a rookie. You're never going to hear me talk about being the man. I'm always learning. I'm always willing to learn. I'm always wanting to learn. It's and a lot of this notion of why people buy a gun or whatnot, and why people like to have a gun, is pretty basic for me. It's a friend of mine asked, why do you have to have these AK-47s and stuff, and I'm like, because I want to have as much as I can possibly have to win a scenario if I'm in it. And it might not make sense to somebody else, but I'm sort of like a person that doesn't want to lose a situation. So if I can have a little insurance, right? I definitely have insurance for my car. I definitely have, like medical insurance. I definitely don't drive drunk or anything crazy. Right. I'm kind of safe in a lot of ways in my life. I have a knife on me because I don't carry a pistol on me normally. I've never needed a concealed permit in my mind, and I'll tell you why. I'm not really down with helping people. It's weird. The older I get, I know I'm going to have more problems if I actually shoot somebody, so I really don't want to shoot nobody. Yeah. So I think if I go into a Circle K and I have a gun on me, and someone's robbing a Circle K, I may help. Right. So, okay, so that's a problem, because really they're probably 99% of the time they're going to take the money, and it's not their money. It's like everyone's going to walk away from this anyways, right? Sure. So if I just sit there and get my Slurpee and let the dude rob Circle K, I'm straight. 99% of the time I feel that's going to happen. But if he comes up to me and I got this on me, I can have this in my pocket open, pull it out behind me, getting my Slurpee. I can just be waiting. And if this dude comes up on me, then we got a different story or whatever. In my mind, I'm ready to do something else if it becomes really my problem. And that means it's going to be like a 5-foot thing. And if someone's attacking me, then this is going to work better for me anyways within 5 feet, in my mind. So I think the idea, the notion of guns, the notion of feeling safety is important. Then it doesn't have to necessarily be it's a right thing. This makes me feel better. Yeah. I can do it. It's legal. I'm not doing nothing wrong. Right. There's nothing illegal about what I'm doing. You're not going to be able to tell me I can't have the best scenario. Yeah. And as far as what you take with you, I have the mindset that you have to bring something. And if it can't be a really nice one, then figure out something that's in your budget. It doesn't matter if it's this one either. It's don't not have something just because it's a really strange time right now. You know, I got jumped by 5 dogs the other day, and we talked about this scenario ad nauseum, and we talked to your son about this. And what do you do when you get jumped by dogs? And the cops at basic end of the game scenario is shoot that dog.
Right.
That's property. You don't have to tolerate this at all. If the dog is off leash, someone's property is hurting you. This is unacceptable.
Yeah, if your life or your dog's life is in danger by these 5 dogs attacking you, you have the right to defend yourself.
Sure.
And to defend your pet or your family member.
Something has to happen.
Yeah.
The idea that you're not going to defend yourself is crazy, in my opinion.
Sure.
So the idea of a home defense gun to me starts a first gun. Let's talk about first guns for people. I know we're all over the place on this. Obviously, this is unedited conversation. We knew what we were talking about, but it's going places. So for me, a shotgun is where it starts. You can, with a 12 gauge shotgun, you can throw down, I think it's like 8 or 9 rounds of 45 in one pull of the trigger.
Right.
So if you're brand new to guns and you don't have any idea what a shotgun is, it's a gun that shoots out a variety of ammunition from one big ball to a bunch of BBs and anything in between. And you can have an amazing variety and the ability to take care of whatever situation you want, from having fun to hunting to saving your ass. And back in the day, I bought a shotgun that would be appropriate in New York because I was visiting New York. So I would typically show up Mossberg Pump 500 shotguns, what I suggest to anybody wanting to get a shotgun. I suggest Mossberg because their quality standards are better over the last few years. 500 because it's the middle of the line and that's where you can start. If you can go higher, perfect. And get a pump and figure it out. If you're a little bit of a smaller person or a female or a child, for instance, maybe a 20 gauge is appropriate, and that's a lot of heat too. So buy a 20 gauge if you have a question about your size. If you question it at all, get the 20 gauge. If you're 180 pounds bigger, go with the 12 gauge, I say. Figure out what you want to do with it. Absolutely, this takes practice. If you have no time to practice, get a pistol, take the pistol with you and learn how to shoot. If you're not going to do anything, if you have time to practice, a 12 gauge is much more effective. Take your time, get to the property. A good suggestion for a 12 gauge, this is one I bought a long time ago. We are empty and clear, is a Stoger double defense. This is a 20-inch shotgun that takes a flashlight at the front end. So it has a rail up top that I do not have on it right now for a red dot, and it has a rail for a flashlight. You want to have a light on your gun.
Absolutely.
If you're going to be using it for defense.
Because you don't want to shoot your family member.
Yeah.
If it's something at night moving around,
and you're going to be
you
scared.
don't want to come out, be scared.
You're going to be
see
scared.
somebody moving. With the light, you can illuminate that person quickly to be like, oh, this is a problem.
This is a necessary. Any shotgun, any gun I'm talking about for home defense or in your car is going to be augmented with a light. For me, it's the number one thing that's got to happen. You have to. For me, right? You can have a wheel gun, but you better know what you're shooting at, man.
Absolutely.
So this light is important. This is a gun that's very basic. You close it, you hit the safety, you pull the trigger twice, it goes off twice. You open it up, you extract the rounds, you put 2 more in from the butt, you push the safety again, you hit the button twice, it goes off, bang, bang. Very basic. What I would suggest is if you're wanting to know what to do at home, this gun, whatever gun you have, you find a plan, you make a room that you're going to evacuate to, the whole family goes to the room, everyone gets behind you, you hold this gun on the phone, you leave the phone on as you call 911, you tell anyone that comes in the door they're going to get popped, you make an announcement that you're armed, and you let them take everything in your house, and you wait for the cops to come handle it. And when the cops come to the front yard, you, I don't know exactly how you confirm, but you put this gun down when you know it's the police.
Sure.
911 operator will tell you someone's coming. And you get it out of your hands when they come in. But something like this is a very, very basic, very powerful way to make your way in your house if you have somebody else in there that you do not want in there.
And I would say that when we talk about home protection, a lot of people advocate shotguns. Some people advocate pistols. I would make a strong case for an AR-15 or AK-47 because the reality of gunfighting is a guy with a rifle is going to kill a guy with a pistol damn near every time. Like, there's a reason we arm our military soldiers with rifles and not, we give them a pistol as a sidearm, but that's not their primary weapon. if a soldier's on the battlefield and he's shooting at you with a pistol, things have gone south. This isn't an ideal scenario. He wants to shoot at you with his M4 rifle, you know, which is just an AR-15 variation. AK-47 can be great. Because there's 2 cases just in the past year. One in Oklahoma where a home owner killed 3 intruders with an AR-15. And then one in Atlanta where the homeowner killed 3 intruders who were all armed with pistols and masked. They shot first, and then the neighbors heard, because the pistol is not nearly as loud as the AR-15. So they heard ping, 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 and then they heard boom, 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 and then all 3 intruders are dead. The homeowner didn't even get shot, you know.
Yeah.
But the neighbors all clearly heard those pistols go off first. So the chances of you winning a gunfight with a pistol against 3 guys with a pistol are pretty slim. But with an AR-15 or an AK-47, you could very well, and you know those 2 cases highlight. So if you do a Google search, homeowner, AR-15,
yeah, they're all
kills
over the
3
place.
intruders. There's a number of cases where a homeowner with a rifle has been able to defend their residence against, you know, home intruders. So very effective. The problem with the rifle, whether it's an AR-15 or an AK-47, is it's so loud. Like, it's gonna cause your ears to ring. You're gonna lose some hearing, and so that's why you see more and more people doing suppressors. Like, the silencers aren't gonna make the gun silent. It's just gonna reduce the noise. But your other alternative would be to try to put some hearing protection on.
Yeah, you want that anyways next to wherever you're going. Hopefully you have a pair ready to go. And if you don't, like, the odds of this really happening are low.
Right.
And that's my thought, right?
Sure.
So, like, the other argument against using either one of those rifles is over penetration, especially with an AK-47.
Mm-hmm.
So an AR-15 has a little better round. You hit the wall, it falls through. But an AK is known for over penetration.
Oh, yeah.
And but like I said, the odds of you needing these things, any of these things for an attack, are highly low.
Sure.
This is a safety thing. This is a mindset thing. This is a, I can do this if I need to thing. This is I'm not going to be caught with my pants down thing.
Right.
Because it's really weird right now because a lot of people are caught with their pants down.
Sure.
There's insane panic right now to buy
Both
guns.
your home and my home are very similar, where we both have 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I got my bull terrier shirt on today, you know, because I'm a proud owner of a bull terrier. I love my little dog. And I have a pit bull, and you've got your Rottweiler, Mastiff, and a Mastiff. So those dogs are going to buy you some time to get your weapon ready and to start reacting. You know, so if there's a home intruder in my house, it's going to go bad because, one, they got to meet my dogs first. And, you know, just like they got to meet your dogs first, which is going to give me time, you know, to light up, you know, to identify this person ain't supposed to be here and start defending. And maybe put your hearing protection in. So, most effective, in my opinion, AR-15 or AK-47. Overpenetration is an issue, especially if you're in an apartment. Those wouldn't be appropriate. And so maybe a handgun or a rifle-style pistol that's shooting 9mm ammunition. You can get an AK or an AR style.
Yeah, hand me that one. This is called a PCC, pistol caliber carbine, and this is my PCC. I love this gun. Okay, so this is 33 round mags. It is empty, and this is made by PSA, and it folds, and this is considered a pistol because it has a stock that the ATF approves for that, and it was sold as a pistol. And this takes
less than a 16-inch barrel. Yeah, that's usually the standard for what a rifle is.
It's hard to talk legalities. There's so many fucking complications. Yes. But this gun is really cool because it's very easy to stow. It's very easy to shoot. It's got almost no recoil. Right. It just hums through ammunition. You're shooting a 9mm. If you're looking for a fun gun in general, right. I've owned hundreds of guns. Hundreds. Yeah. And I dare say, out of everything I've ever owned, this is probably the funnest gun I've ever touched. This gun is so fast, so accurate. Absolutely. Out to 100 yards, I can head shoot anything. Right. And this is with LAX reloads. Mm-hmm. It's just a blast.
Right.
So this gun, not only would it be great for somebody that doesn't want to take on a shotgun, it's smaller than a shotgun. You can put it in a bag, a backpack for transportation.
Yeah.
You can take it anywhere.
It's not going to have the recoil.
It doesn't have the recoil. It smokes ammo.
Right.
You
It won't be as loud.
It won't be as loud. You can put your gear on. You're safe. This is highly, highly recommended. And there's 100 different models of these right now. There's so many pistol caliber carbines. They're really popular.
And you're going to be more accurate.
Yeah.
You know, without even sighting, you're going to be more accurate with this rifle type shooting pistol ammunition than you are going to be with the handgun.
And in the reality, this is a 100-yard gun and more.
Sure.
And the odds of you needing anything past that are crazy.
And
everything
we was
else
at the range, and we weren't missing at 100 yards. We
headshots.
hit the metal targets every time.
Headshots at 100.
Sure.
I was like, what the hell? It's crazy. Once you get it, once you figure out where this sighted in, and it's over. And all I added to this is this. I put $130 holosun on it. Mm-hmm. So this is exactly from the factory. Extremely recommended.
And the other thing you can do that I like with these rifles is you can put a it's not a harness, a strap,
a sling.
Sling.
Yeah.
And because the deal is if you have a pistol or you don't have the sling and you get shot, you're gonna drop your weapon.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to drop your weapon because you may have to shoot again. You know, because like, oh, I just got shot, I need to shoot again, and you don't want to have dropped your weapon. So you have a sling. And then the other thing is, with this, you know, like if you ran out of ammo, you could hit them with it. You know, like
it's an AK.
Yeah, like
it's really an AK-40.
You can swing it at them.
It's essentially an American-made AK. Mm-hmm. And I was so reluctant to buy anything that's an American-made AK, but they've just been doing so good over the last few years with their regular Gen 3. Gen 3 is when I started paying attention on the regular AKs, and they seem to really knock it out of the park with this one.
I think Palmetto State Armory makes an outstanding AK.
Especially for the money.
I think you know, Century makes crap.
Yeah, I wouldn't
IO
buy
makes
Century.
crap. There's some
not
companies
even
out there that make garbage.
They're not even around, yeah.
But Palmetto State Armory makes they make a good AK, and they also make a good AR-15.
And if you're wondering, I suggest the side folder. Very hard one to find, and I think I was like one of the first. I was the first video online with the side folder. I remember telling you that. I remember saying when I got this, I'm going to have the first video out on this.
And if you look at how big that is, like that's something that you can have in your car.
Yeah. You know, I leave this. I take this in a backpack all the time.
And then what does it take? 30 rounds?
Yeah, 30 or 35. No, I think it's 35, man.
Right. Yeah,
35 rounds.
So I mean,
I might be wrong, but it's a lot. It's 35. US 35. Yeah, 35.
So let's say you was in a bad scenario, and you know, like where you have these scenarios where people are being stopped on the highway, their windows being smashed out, they're being pulled out of the car.
Yeah.
You know,
I have a sunroof.
You've got, you know, that's 35 rounds.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I think you just pop out of the sunroof, show this, they come off your car.
Yeah, like
you would be stupid to be on the car.
The thing is you don't have to shoot 35 people. You know, you shoot the one that's coming at you.
Shoot the closest one.
Or the guy giving directions. It's like, shoot that guy.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, we're done here.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Like, people aren't like, you know, I think we watch, you know, like nowadays a lot of folks watch these zombie movies and they think, oh, there's 100 people in this riot and they're all charging you and they're going to keep coming no matter how many you mow down. It's like, no, they're not. People are not that brave. They're going to come, you hit a couple, and then the rest are going to be like, you know what, I didn't sign up for this. You know?
Right.
And they're going to go on their merry way and do something else. Like, you know, people aren't zombies. They don't just keep charging, you know, and watching people get mowed down in front of them. It's just, it's not the way life works.
And understand everything we're saying is from our perspective, right? And it's hard to understand anything except our perspective and where we've kind of like tried to help people go before. Yeah. And the person I try to help go places all the time is my wife. And yours is probably way more security oriented because she's an instructor and deals in this all the time. And
well, yeah, because my wife she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but she was also in the Army for 9 years.
Sure.
So, you know, she knows how to shoot an AR-15 type rifle. You know, she knows how to shoot the 9mm pistol.
And Beth knows how to do all that stuff too. She's in the
Army
as well.
Beth is in the Army, yes.
But I can't get her to take that serious in like her daily life. Like her need to protect herself is like, oh, I'm fine. I'm gonna do whatever. And you know, in like my business, like I sell stuff all the time for my side business that is designed to help people that don't want to kill something, right? So or not that you can't, but you don't want to step right to that level, right? So this is something we sell called a monkey fist. So you put this on your keychain, and this is like a 1-inch ball, and you smack somebody with this, and then hopefully it gets them off you and you run.
Sure.
This is not like you're gonna like Bruce Lee nobody with your keychain and start whack. You may, but you'd be a moron to do that. So what you do, even with a monkey fist, like the downside to a monkey fist, which these are cool, and they look awesome, but if you start hitting this thing for fun, this sucker's gonna slide out of here, and the monkey, and you're never gonna make this knot again. Right. You paid somebody a lot of money to make this knot.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. You may not realize it is these monkey fists.
Oh, I know the original.
They got the name off our ships because when we do underway replenishments, it's a bigger monkey fist.
Yeah, and you throw a line, right?
We shoot them to the other ship, and then they catch it, and then they pull the line, and then that's how we send supplies. From one ship to another. Is
through a pulley, right?
But the monkey fist
gets it over.
Is a not just U.S. Navy, but it's a
well, that's how it started.
Navy tradition.
The Navy guys would take those and start beating the piss out of people in the ports. Yeah, so they just made a smaller one.
Right, but that's what we shoot from one ship to another.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
To tie up and do underway replenishments.
Can you make one of these knots? I mean, you learn that?
No, I didn't have that.
Yeah, this is crazy.
It's for the Navy. For the U.S. Navy, it's our boatswain's mates, which is a rating. They do all the line handling and the anchors, and they're the ones that would shoot that.
One of the downsides to this in a defense thing is that it does rebound. So if you hit somebody, it's going to come back.
Sure.
There's no spring in this. When you go to something else that's actually like designed maybe to say beat the piss out of something, there are what they call slaps and blackjacks.
Sure. Yeah.
And these were real popular like in the 50s and like mob days and stuff. And you might not know about them unless you like seen like the movies and stuff. And this is a blackjack. And this is made by a maker of my name, Oz. And this is something you can just leave in your purse. And totally, everything I'm showing you is totally legal in Texas. So this is where, Texas. So this is something you pull out and and there's a spring in here, so there is no rebound. You see that? But this is much more serious.
Sure.
So you pull this out and smack a dog with it, they're gonna really know.
Sure.
This is something that I would suggest for something like that. I bought this when we got jumped by those 5 dogs. I bought this personally to carry around and to give to Beth. And this is a shillelagh. So this is something I bought recently, and I traded actually Bud for this. So this I tucked down into my pants, and I was like, I'll just beat the piss out of the dogs. I don't have no concealed permit, so I can't keep a gun on me. Yeah. Right? I'm in Texas, but I can't do the cops option. And I figure I can take a couple dogs out with this. And moose is good for a couple others. So I'm figuring like. So I carried this a lot, man. This is super light. Feel how light this is.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing weapon.
Can you imagine if you had to beat somebody with that?
And I mean, like these weapons, like the knives, the shillelagh, the blackjack, the monkey's fist. These are good options if, for whatever reason, you're not able to own guns. Some people are not able to own guns for various reasons, and so these are.
This is. I would imagine. I've never beaten piss out of nobody with nothing. Yeah. I've never beaten nobody with nothing. So disclaimer.
Sure.
I imagine this worked pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure it would. It's got a long history of working really well.
This is something, I forget the name of it. I bought this from Russia. This I sell in the store. This is for sale.
Nice.
This is awesome. This is made in Kazakhstan in like the 1700s. For when you're there's a spring in here. This is weaved. This is weaved. There's a spring in here, and then the end is weighted with like a weight.
Yeah.
And this is back in the 1700s. You rode your horse, and you beat down wolves with this, and you would break their backs from horseback. So you would come up on your horse, I just smash a wolf to death, right? Because in Kazakhstan, wolves are everywhere. Okay, so. Over time, they take this and it was wolf duty. This definitely work for a person. And then eventually the police get a hold of it. And then and still to this day, they use this in police work in Russia, in certain areas, and they fold people up with a spring. And as a martial artist, you might be able to see a use for this, and like maybe strangling somebody, or control of an arm or a limb, And then what I have seen it. There's a couple videos online of people using these things in Russia. And then when they get tired of dicking around, they just beat you senseless with this thing, and it's over.
And I think
this is essentially a whip.
Is you don't like necessarily like if somebody's trying to rob you, assault you in some way, like you don't necessarily like have to kill them to stop them.
Right.
You know, like,
and a lot of people don't want to.
You hit somebody a couple times with this, and they made it. It made it determined that they no longer want to rob you. Like it's not worth that that pain threshold. Or even like if you shot somebody with a shotgun, it was all bird shot. So it's not most likely that's not going to be lethal, but it's going to take the fight out of somebody because he's going to need somebody to get all those BBs out of him.
When I go hiking, I don't even take a knife with me no more. Right. Because I don't want to lose nothing that's in my pocket, and I don't want to lose. And I bring this, and this is why I have a little holder for it. I slide it in. This is a Macoun bag hawk. I would never, if I got into a problem with somebody, even pull the sheath off of it.
Is that the same maker that made the Blackjacks for my son?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed his emblem. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. This is the same guy. So this is my personal,
right.
Do everything.
Warhammer.
You got the Warhammer.
Okay,
you got a Warhammer.
Okay,
you bought a Warhammer.
I said battle axe, but
this is a tomahawk.
Nice.
This is a bag tomahawk that's tiny. This is about half the size of his normal hawk and bigger than his micro hawk, mouse hawk.
Right. Huh.
So this is the one I carry when I walk every day with the dog.
Sure.
I'm actually figuring out how to mount it to the bike.
Right.
And if I have a problem with anybody, there's a hammer on this. So you leave this on here, like when I'm in the woods, I walk all the time. I hike this area that there's people in it, but you can imagine there's animals and stuff.
Yeah.
It's sort of like woods. So I keep this with me when I walk with the dog, and I clear the brushes and branches and I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm moving through something I can't get to, if I want to, clear with this. So it turns into something. Most people would not walk around with this on a daily basis.
Right.
But I walked into Sideliners the other day for Tim's deal with this on, and I have to, Tim's like, "Well, dude, this is a cool bar. You don't have to bring a tomahawk." I go, "Nah, man, this is my normal.
Yeah.
This is what this is my normal."
Sure.
And I get business. We have another maker here. This is a really subtle one that I have. This is Skyline Designs, and this says you can't see it, but it says Love Tap. And this is you slide into your back pocket. You have a little handle on it. Very, very low key.
Nice. I'd say so.
And wow, the damage you can do with that, boy. You just put it around, just grab it and smack.
Yeah.
So something like this for a female or a dude who is not wanting to. I'm 50. I'm not punching nobody. You might catch something like this if you're fucking with me before I even decide to punch anybody. I might just if I'm at the point where I'm doing something, I'm gonna win it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about it. You might just catch something like this right upside your head, man. If it comes to so stuff like this is you're gonna be able to take anybody. You're gonna be able to make decisions with this maybe if you need to that you didn't have if it's not in your back pocket. This is very small. I can't explain to you how this tucks away in the back pocket of a jean with just this hanging out. It looks pretty cool too, I think, personally.
And advantageous, like you really don't want to punch people in a street fight.
And you don't want to stab nobody.
Because, well, like the problem with punching people in a street fight is your hands are really delicate, and people break their hands in street fights.
All the time.
That's why you see so many punches now in the UFC today, vice the UFC when it first started. Was when they first started the UFC, there was no gloves. So people if you punch somebody with a fist and you hit their head just right, you might break your hand.
Hammer fisted back.
And so you'd see guys doing open hand strikes. So in a street fight, I don't want to hit a guy with my fist because then I might break my hand, and then I'm gonna have a hard time manipulating, the rest of the fight, with a broken hand.
Sure.
So maybe, I hit him with this, or hit him with a shillelagh, or your monkey's fist.
Blackjack.
And then,
or excuse me, brass knuckles.
I use my Brazilian jiu-jitsu afterwards, but
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Right. If you have to, right?
Right.
Almost like a contingency. My theory is this, man. I'm not messing with nobody.
Yeah.
So if someone's bringing it to me, they've already stepped through all these areas where they've already come across to a point where I'm not dicking around, man. I've already walked away. Yeah. I've already tried to leave.
Right.
I've already took the spit on me. I've already heard "fuck you, fat ass" for your bullshit. I've already heard all that and said, "No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right." Mm-hmm. I've already done all that until I got to do something, man. Right. You know, you might want
the last thing I
want
to do is get into a street.
I'm gonna show you some of my personal shit and just go through why I like it. This is a cool knife I keep all the time on me. It's a cool size. It's a 3-inch blade. It's easy to keep on me across the front like this. So I wear it across my front like this. A lot of knives. I prefer fixed blades. You can go into a Karambit. A Karambit's an interesting knife. This is a folder, Fox Karambit. These are very, very good knives. Made in Italy. Not expensive. Not cheap. 150-ish. Well worth it.
Right.
What's cool about a Karambit is it makes a very simple way of just destroying somebody. If you really get into this and see what this is a tiger claw. You can just hold this knife and peck at somebody and know nothing about fighting and just keep somebody off of you. And there's ways to retain it, and there's people that'll argue with it one way or the other. But this is a very cool, easy way to hide a whole bunch of pain if you get into it with somebody. The idea of this being down means it's just going to tear through so much faster. You don't have to stab with this. You don't have to know what you're doing with this. You just reach out and poke somebody with this. This is such a basic design.
But what I would do, I would recommend to anybody that's looking to get a weapon is go get some training in it. Like, especially if you're going to get a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun. Like, you know, like me and Stomp, we go and we shoot at the Lone Star Range all the time. And then me and my son go shoot there. So I'm probably there a couple days a week. They was laughing at me and my son when we went on Tuesday because we was there for like 4 or 5 hours. We was working shooting the guns, different positions, different tactics, movements. And they're like, dude, are you ever going home? And it's like, we're having a good time. So, but almost any gun range you go to will have instructors there that will be more than happy. They'll offer classes. You can go through training and learn how to shoot the weapon you have. And I want to focus on, you know, I hear people do caliber debates all the time. But it's really important, more than the caliber, the fact that you can shoot that gun and shoot it well. So get your gun, go to the gun range, get some training, and learn to shoot it and shoot it well. And I would say at a minimum, like I easily shoot my probably 1,000 rounds of ammo a month just in my handguns. But you don't have to do that much. But I would say at a minimum, 50 rounds a month. Like you need to go to the range at least once a month, fire your gun, see how it works, see the characteristics, learn to clear it if it gets jammed. And there's plenty of training, and I've heard people debate, and they say, oh, well, you know, I don't want a 9mm, I want a 45 cal or a 50 cal. 9mm pistol, most militaries and law enforcement police in the world are shooting 9mm. And they're not doing it because they haven't done any research.
Right.
But, you know, like, maybe my Uncle Cletus in the woods is like, oh, I wouldn't do anything less than a 45 cal. Well, you know, bless his heart, but he hasn't done a whole lot of studying on the effects of ammunition, you know.
No, the modern 9mm ammo is extremely effective.
Like the U.S. military is not equipping their soldiers with 9mm because it's an inferior ammunition. Yeah. It's an excellent ammunition.
Yeah, if there's any question, I think 90% of the planet would point you to a 9mm first and foremost.
And the nice thing is it's inexpensive.
Yeah.
So you can get a box of 50 rounds of 9mm for maybe $11. You know, full metal jacket, about $11, and that gives you the ability to go and practice. And the more you practice with your weapon, the better you're gonna be at. You know, it's like can't stress practicing enough.
All of these things are gonna get better the more you use them. And I'm not telling you to go buy a knife to defend yourself, but I'm not telling you not to have a knife on you in case something happens.
Sure.
And I'm not telling you not to have something on you in case something happens. And like when the Rona hit, and I was trying to tell you about Beth, I try to take her shooting all the time. She's not into it.
Right.
She's not going to grab something that she's not familiar with and use that she's not into. So if you're not into it, as soon as I started getting nervous, I went out and bought this for her for $20 at the sports store, and this is just a basic youth model bat.
Right.
It's the cheapest one you can get.
But you don't want to get hit with it.
Full size Louisville Slugger, and this gives her time to get to the room here and find a gun that she knows, or get to the dogs, or something.
Yeah.
It's something. It's not nothing. Right. So it's proactive compared to doing nothing.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of options. There's all kinds of ways. We obviously suggest training. Saad's a professional, instructor. He teaches this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 6 days a week. So obviously we're into this. Obviously we got into learning this for our own reasons, whatever they may be, to feel safer or whatnot. I'm giving you suggestions on what I use. This is one of my knives that is strictly just for defense or offense, whatever I would be doing with it, full custom. This is what's considered a push knife. A lot of people like these because they're really easy to hold. You pull it out of the thing and you just push it into people. Very, very basic. You can get these for like $30, cold steel. This is a full custom, but I'm showing options. So there's all kinds of ways to do it. I think if you're gonna want a knife for EDC, everyday carry, something you're gonna have on you a lot, I would suggest a smaller size. These are some of mine. This gives you something. It's smaller. This will actually be on you every day. The reason Saad's had this on him for years and years and years is the size. If I gave him a knife this size, he probably wouldn't carry it every day. If I give him a knife this size, he can carry it every day. Size is very important. If you want to look at something that's small and wicked, a Karambit is probably as nasty as you can get for the size. This is a custom maker, Denny Fury. He makes all kinds of styles of Karambit. He's he's one of my makers and very, very good at this type of thing. And there's just a lot of variations. This is a folding monster Bowie knife I carry on me. This is what I would take out in public if I was like going to the movies or something, like something big.
Right. And one thing on knives, like in the military, we actually did a study of people with their knives and their ability to use them. And like we had guys come into the room, and then two guys would tackle them and wrestle them. And the only knife people were able to use and get to were the fixed blades. Mm-hmm. Even the automatic knives, the mechanical knives, like the switch blades that, like you hit and they come out
the front.
Like the person that was being attacked was not able to deploy that weapon, to get it out and deploy it. So the fixed blade has a huge advantage.
Huge.
So, like when I deployed a couple times with the Marines, probably spent almost 9 years of my career working for the Marines, and like they gave us a K-bar, which was similar to this,
probably
but
more like
a little bit smaller.
Probably more like that.
It was about this.
Really?
About this
big
length.
one?
Yeah, it's a pretty big knife, and but it's a fixed blade, and but it's not an expensive knife. I think you could probably go to the military exchange and get a K-bar for maybe $50-$60. They're not overly expensive. I haven't actually bought one, but I'm pretty sure they're like $50 or $60. They're not that much.
They have different ranges,
Yeah, because they just issued me mine, and I was so happy. I sent Stomp a picture a couple of weeks ago because I was like, hey, I was going through my garage and I found the K-bar the Marines had issued me, and so it was like really cool. But so a fixed blade knife is a huge advantage. If you have a folding knife, like you're gonna want to open it, before you get engaged, because once you get engaged, you're just not gonna be able to open the knife. It's just you're gonna reach for it, you're gonna try to open it, you're gonna
fumble, or at least hide it in your hand closed where you can flick it open if you have the ability. These certain knives have wave features that grab your pants as they open, and if you rely on that and train that, you can get it open. But most have like a thumb hole or a thumb stud or a way for you to bury down on it, maybe put your thumb on it and hide it behind your back or so. I don't know. Yeah. But there are ways to get to it. I like the idea of a folder because you actually have it on you. For the last 7 years, I've been carrying a fixed blade on me. This is one of my oldest ones, man. This has been with me the longest, I think, out of all of them. The old Strider, and I love this because it's so small. It's just so utilitarian, right? So I always keep this on me. So I think this is a new time when my friends that never even had a gun are calling me after a month after they buy a gun and going, hey, where do I go for a knife? What kind of knife do I need for a defensive or for me to get somebody off of me? And I went straight to, and this is sort of not a plug. I'm not representing Bark River or Blackjack knives when I say this, but I did go on a looking spree for for a knife for my buddy to buy. And I didn't, like I started it out with, I didn't necessarily want to push a custom because customs this size are about $600-700 starting. Right. And to get a full guard and everything you need on this type of knife is what I would want to have. And I don't want to lose a $700 custom or have a problem leaving it in my car if I can't take it into a restaurant. So I think a sub $300 knife range area is what I was looking at. Yeah. And when I started looking, you can get some really nice cold steels for, you know, $250-ish, $200, $180 with guards. You can get, and I really like Cold Steel. I really like Ontario Rat Works. I didn't look into a lot of them, but there's a lot of companies you can buy. And I have looked and watched a company called Bark River Knives for years. And I am in their a group on Facebook, and I didn't call Mike. I don't have Mike's number, but Mike Stewart is the guy that runs Bark River, and I gave him a message on Facebook last night and had probably like a half-hour online back and forth messaging about what model to get, what I wanted, and we decided on the Blackjack 1-7. He makes it at Bark River, but they sell it for a different company, and they say it's under Blackjack Knives. So they make it but sell it under Blackjack Knives. And this knife is a Randall clone. You can look up a Randall knife from the Vietnam era, and it's one of probably the most famous fighting knife in the world ever. And you know, to get one of those knives is a 6-month wait, year wait, and it costs like $1,500. Sure. And Randall still makes them, and you can get them. They're out of Orlando. But I think in the 90s, Mike started making a clone knife of this, and he's been selling this knife through Blackjack since the 90s, and it's still in production. The thing that's cool about Bark River is it's basically a semi-production or a semi-custom company that is making batches. So I think last year he said they made a total of 40,000 knives, which seems like a lot, but it's really not for a company that's hand grinding them. And that's what's interesting. There's only 6 dudes and Mike, so it's 6 guys full-time, plus Mike's son, who hand grinds every knife. So it's being ground by a person. No knife is exactly the same. They're individually made. And the backing and the warranty is the cool part, because I've been watching their group page for 2 or 3 years now on Facebook, since I've been in the knife business. And people show the, hey, I just got back from the spa treatment. And it's like before and after pictures. And you'll take a knife that's just beat to piss and unsharpened and worn out, and maybe something's broken on it, really. Maybe you used it too hard, or you dropped it and the handle cracked or something. Maybe something happened. And you take it in, you send it to them, and for $25 shipping and handling and insurance, they'll totally redo the knife and send it back to you, basically new. And that's for life. Wow. So if you can get into basically a handmade knife, there's no jigs in the place at all. There's no forms. There's no machine grinding these out. Hand ground knife for sub $250. I'm gonna go have a custom sheath made to tuck it into my waist the way I showed you these. So I'm gonna have a nice little 7-inch, not a 12-inch. I'm buying one for myself too. I'm buying one for me because I don't have this knife in my. I don't have something I'm gonna take every day, no matter what. Fixed blade, 7 inches at least, that can do some damage. And so I'm getting one for me. It's going to be a leather stacked Randall clone, black handle. He said he would have a few black handle ones made for me. They hadn't made one in a few years anyways. And I'm going to get like the first 2 coming out on the next batch for me and my friend Chris. I'm going to have Stomp Strong engraved on the handle by the seller. Cool. He has distributors, not on the handle, but on the blade, in the same font that they do. Have him put Stomp Strong on both of them. Then I'm sending it to either Tom Jefferson or Art Maldonado. Art for a leather sheath, if I'm going leather, or if Tom gets my Kydex sheath done, figured out on my other ones, we'll go straight to Tom and start having this Kydex sheath I've been trying to get built forever. That is essentially a Kydex version of this, which is a pancake sheath, much thinner, much narrower, that slides right in like butter, will disappear on you, where I can hold a 12-inch knife and never feel it while I'm walking around or sitting. And I'm going to bring that style back to being predominant, and Tom Jefferson is going to start making those sheaths exclusively for me and for him and whoever wants to order them. So
I know we've run about an hour now. So to close out, I just want to say that whatever you carry, make it something that you can carry every day. Like I carry this Sabanza every day because I can easily stick it in my pocket. It's
Sure.
You know, it's not a fighting knife. It's not a self-defense knife, but it can be used for that. It's not the perfect one, but it's just what I carry every day.
It will poke somebody.
And the same thing, you know, whether it's your handgun, your knife, your axe, just something that you can just throw in your pocket every day that you can conveniently carry. And, you know, because you might go into a restaurant or you go to a store that says, hey, you can't bring a handgun in here. Well, you know, you can have your pocket knife in your hand.
Sure.
And so that gives you a little...
You need a pocket knife
something.
in general, too.
And then
it's not right not to have a pocket
this
knife in my
particular
mind.
pocket knife, I really like the message, in addition to the maker. But the message was join or die. And it shows a snake cut up of the original 13 states. And this was a political cartoon, the first one known to be printed in the United States by Benjamin Franklin. And he made this cartoon to encourage the colonies to join together during the French-Indian War. And then you saw it again during the Revolutionary War, and then the cartoon became famous again during the Civil War. But, you know, during these times of turmoil, we've got things that we got to fix in our country, but it's very important to realize that, you know, we either need to join and be together, or we're going to die individually like a cut-up snake. So
yeah, it's not good, guys.
Let's find a way to come together and work through this. And so this is my favorite.
I'll let you we'll close it out of that.
And then anything else from you, my friend?
I mean, I'll show you the last two that I've been carrying the most. I like this real quick out the front. It's really easy to get to. It's small, it's tiny, it's easy to carry, it's little. And then when I need something heavy duty, this is always in my car in the sunglass holder.
Nice.
Cold Steel Recon 1. If someone comes in and grabs it, it's a $100 knife. It's not that big of a deal. To me, I don't want to lose something that's really nice. And episode 5 down, I think we did pretty good. I know we rambled. I know there might not have been too much coherency, but it's all about the same topic.
Week and we addressed it. And
this is like a plethora of ways we try to defend ourselves and showing our perspectives. And we're not experts by any means, but we do and have carried knives and guns and shot forever. So take it at that. Stomp Strong, have a great week. Give us questions in the comments. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your people about the podcast. We are definitely trying to get as much traction as possible, and that can only be done with as much help as we can. There is no podcast without viewers. I mean, I wouldn't have done it 5 weeks in a row if we didn't have. If we had 0 views, would you still be doing it?
Probably not.
Yeah, it'd be really weird to be doing it.
Other than I just enjoy talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, we do this anyways. I mean, but to record it and to be silly, to be doing it 5 times. You guys have a good day.
All right.
Let me
good.
Push the table forward, hit the button. Peace.